everybody. No, I hit wrong buttons. I was taking a sip of coffee and I was like, man, that intro is so quick. How is everyone doing? What questions do we have? What are people working on? If you're in office hours right now, say hey. I think Mewbot might be awake, but let me wake up Mewbot. Mewbot needs to be rebooted every once in a while. He's a robot. He does what robot things do. Hey, Mewbot, how are you doing? Are you behind me, Mewbot, or are you in front of me? Oh my God, he's in front of me. Maybe I should put him behind me. Oh no. Let's see. Where could I? Let's move Mewbot behind me. If you're here right now, feel free to ask questions. I saw a few people are watching right now. Say hey in the chat. Mewbot is back. Oh, wait, let's throw out some 20 points. 20 points in the chat right here. 20 points added to the viewers. Mewbot is awake. Let's see. Kirsten saying hey. Channel saying hey. Chanel saying hey. Back for office hours. Awesome to see you here. Maybe chat's working again right now. Maybe I should put Mewbot over to the side. Like we'll go here. Put Mewbot. Need to shrink down a little bit, Mewbot. You're too big. I don't know. Maybe it needs to be that big. You can go right over there. Good stuff, Mewbot. What questions do you have right now? Let me know as Mewbot disappears. Mewbot's just going away right there. What questions do you have? So many things. This is from the February ice storm when we had the crazy ice storm. Hey, Riley, good to see you here. If you have questions, let me know. I'm just stuck in a block of ice. This is what I was doing when we didn't have internet. I was working on this. So I was like getting this fixed up. I worked on it on my laptop. And so since I had laptop power, I was like, let me get an ice block where I can be like, I am frozen solid here in Texas. All the little things. I'm looking through my different things right here. And we look over 1B on assignment 1. Yeah, let's take a look at a 1B on assignment 1. Great question right there, Kirsten. Excellent work. Swing by office hours. Ask those questions. Let's take a look. Here we go. Let's go do it. So if you're 201 or 320, you can ask questions at any time. Just drop the question in the chat. I might try to make it so we have like a thing where you can see what question comes up next. Okay, let's figure it out. I might not totally give it away. 1B. Like, let's look at 1B. Okay, we got a bunch of E raised to some craziness right here. That's a lot. Don't look at this one. Don't look at that. Okay. So I'm going to change this slightly right here. I'm going to change this. Here's what it is right now. It's a bunch of E. It's got exponents. It's got minuses in it. So let's go ahead and delete this. You have to be careful right here. That's a multiply. You know what? Let's do it. Let's just do it. It's starting out. What is the 15 thing doing? The 15 thing is doing its own thing. It's multiplying by it. That is E raised to the 2 minus 2/5 times 15 plus E raised to... So let's do this. Here are some little bits. Kirsten, here's what I want you to code right now in the chat. I would like you to code the following. I want you to code that in the chat right now. So we're going to go down here to where we'll just solve this one. Why not? We'll confirm the answer. It's about this. So let's just try coding only this highlighted portion right here. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see it nice and big here. I want you to code only this in the chat. Try coding that in the chat right now. We code in some little bits. So I want you to code that in the chat. I'm just going to drink coffee while you do the work. So just code that. Nice job right there, Kirsten. Excellent work. And then what are we going to do? You might know the next step. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to take this and put it inside of here. Now, whenever you write a little bit of code, you want to run it. Apparently, the copy didn't work. Here we go. Copy. There we go. This is a character that will not evaluate. We have to remove that. So this is working right. Oh, you can't see. There we go. The code is working right now. So we have working code. Once again, you can highlight the code. And what am I going to write in front of this right now? I want to put a function in front of it. So how do I do E raised to the? I want to write this portion of the code, and we'll have one portion of it written together right here. So I want to just put a little 3-letter word in front of it that's going to use the E function, which raises E to the power of this. What is the 3-letter word I'll put in front of it? And the parentheses denote that it's a function. Great job right there, Kirsten. Excellent work. Look, you got this. We got this. Oh, that's some crazy number right there. So we got some crazy number, little tiny decimals right there. Let's take a look at the other part of this. The other part of this is this times 15. So let's do this part by itself right now. We're just going to do the first part of this. Okay, so just write this right here, Kirsten. Just write this in the chat. And that has to be E raised to that. So I'm going to write the first part right here. So you are solving that portion, which is the e raised to portion. Solve that, but there's a small error that can occur on this one. I think you'll catch it though. So make sure, because I'm going to need a certain way on this. There's an error that will occur, or not will, but could occur. You have the little tiny error that, we'll find out if this would do it. I don't know. I'm trying to think if it would. I'd put parentheses around that. We'll see here. We'll test it both ways. I'd throw some parentheses around that so I know that this evaluates right here. That might cause an issue. I'll find out the hard way. You ready? So let's go here and do 2 minus 2/5, which is what we were just highlighting right there. 2 minus 2/5 should be negative, right? No, 2/5 is not negative. It should be 8/5, which would be 1.6. There we go, 1.6. Okay. Oh, that worked. Hey, let me throw some 20 points. Kirsten, you were correct. That did evaluate the proper... Oh my gosh. I got to stop zooming in so much. That did evaluate the proper way. So you were correct. I usually just throw parentheses around stuff just to like double check. But the parentheses were not needed. And we put here this in the EXP and we get the following. And that looks to be correct. We could check by putting parentheses and we are getting the same thing. So like I said in class, I use parentheses all the time. I'm just like, okay, I want this to evaluate. It's going to do its thing. Now, what do you think we're just going to do here very simply to everything we've written? What are we going to do to it now? What am I going to do to that code that I've just written right here, which you can see I'll highlight it right here. That's the highlighted code there. That's a calculator. That's the highlighted code currently on the screen, and the blue is not on there. What am I just going to do to that code? What am I going to do to that code? You have to be careful. You're going to need to put something between these. So you got to be careful. That's another common mistake. And we're just doing this all here in little bits. Great, Kirsten. Excellent work. Top tier work right there. That looks good right there. And then this is the plus. And boom. That's such a small decimal difference. Small decimal difference. How is it feeling better right here, Kirsten, as we go through the steps, just doing it in little bits? You'll hear that all throughout the semester, just coding in those little bits. It's just the practice. And great job, channel, right there also. That's exactly what we want to do. I saw you put the comments in there too with the answers. So excellent work. I mean, I don't know, it's the start of the semester. Yeah, that's what I like to see. I think one of the biggest things is sometimes people, if you're watching these videos, going through that process right there of coding it in little bits and getting it down and being like, okay, I code this, then this, then this. As Sheets was pointing out during class, you don't just do the whole thing at once. You code the whole thing, there's going to be errors. You're going to have a problem. And we just did it bit by bit by bit. We did the last part right here with the inside of the parentheses. And you start to do more and more. It's like playing piano and you're like, I'm going to play Rondo alla Turca. Well, first you got to learn scales and you got to learn a little bit of theory. What do you want to do next? I mean, we could do the next one. Why not? It's the start of the semester. Let's put as much help out there as we can. Then we'll take off the training wheels later on the bike. We'll have the training wheels on right now. Like, I want people, if you're searching for help, if you're working through the problems, I want it to make more sense. I want it to, so your call, it's your office hours. You get to say, hey, Brian, work on this, explain this, talk about this concept, whatever you want, your office hours, your choice. What are you working on? What problem do you want to talk about? What would people like for office hours? I will drink coffee while people decide. An excellent work. Part C, you bet. Let's work through here. Part C. Let's do it. I'm gonna put a cut in the video. I start doing this now. It helps me when I put the things in later. So we're gonna work on part C. I go to the screen for just a moment, so that way later on when I'm doing the cuts in the video, I can easily see this is where we're doing something new. So let's go back to it. Okay, with part C, once again, we're going to hover over this. This is LaTeX writing once again, where it's just creating an equation inside of R. So if you were to knit this, you can knit to HTML if you want. Is it going to knit? Okay, it's knitting. And you can actually see the equations right here. This is just like equation editor in Word, and this is not R script coding right here. So we could actually take a copy of this, a little bit bigger for us to work with. And this looks absolutely insane. But what looks to be the first thing we would write right here? Now, you could do this a lot of different ways. I like to do it from the inside out. So do you want to start with the outmost portion or the inmost portion? I will do either one. So if you're watching along right now, do you want to do the outmost portion, which means we would start here and work our way inward? Or do you want to start on the inside? You don't have to choose. I would do the denominator. So the denominator, here's the numerator. So 4 divided by this. Yeah, well, you can do the 4 right there. Yeah, actually, that's probably the best way to start. The inside. Yeah, I would do the inside first. And truthfully, probably the best little bit to start with is 4. I don't know. We can code that. You ready? Let's go ahead and code that. Great job, both people working on the problems right now. And if you're watching this in future, great job. There we go. Wait, that's 5. We messed that up already. There we go. There's some 4 right there. And I'm hitting Control Enter or Command Enter. Boom. We got it done. Help me out with the next part right here. Help me out with the next part. We're just doing this from the inside out. I want you to tell me what to write next. I'm going to highlight this code as we go through. And we're just going to make sure. So we just did that 4. There we go with 4. We got 4. And now I want you to tell me what to write next. You got to put that next portion of the code. I don't think that's too much. That's a little bit. It's a little bit. What do we write next right here? So go through here and work through this and just be thinking these little bits. What are you going to do next to 4? What are you going to do next to 4? These little bits. Practice, practice, practice. Exactly. Great job right there. Excellent work. I don't even have time to drink coffee. I'm just going to copy paste that right here. Excellent work. And we're just dividing that right here. You know, I'll do the next one. I get one. Little bits. I love that sound bit. So the next one right here. Great job, Chanel and Kirsten. Excellent work. And then we're going to raise it to the 5th power. So we're just going to take this. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just put a parentheses around this. I'm just going to go in parentheses and go raise to 5th. That's why I said I love parentheses. So I just put a parentheses around it like it has, and then I raised it to the 5th. I mean, I think pretty easy to see what we got going on here. We just got a little, what are we going to put before this? I'm just going to go before this. We're currently working on this portion right here. You know what? Maybe I should do it this way. Here is what we've got completed on the screen. We've completed this. And now we are working on this portion right here. We're working on this. How are we going to tag that onto there with these little bits right here? We've already got that completed on the screen. We're going to make sure it runs. It runs, which is good. Hopefully it's right, but we'll assume it's right for now. I just want to tag on that to it. So, I mean, I know it seems obvious. I mean, it looks so big and mammoth. You're like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do this? And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I know how to do this. This is just 2 plus. That's the easy one. We're good with that. 2 plus. And then you run it, make sure it works. And then we get to maybe the harder one. So now we're on to like another, like, oh, what do we do again? What are we going to do? What do we do here? Now there's 2 ways of doing this. This is where maybe people get stuck. And what you could do at this point, if you'd like to see a trick, watch this. Let's just call all of this X. So I'd like for somebody, here's a trick. In the chat right now, I'd like for you to take the code we have and just call that X. So what we're doing is we're doing a trick right here. There's so many ways to do this. You could code it all at once. You could evaluate it. So how could we take all of this and just call it X? So that whole thing is just going to be called X now, which might make it easier to work with. And then it's like, oh, we're just doing the log 10 of X. Because then we just have her right on the screen. And that's much easier to look at. Yeah, I say right there. Let's just do that. Let's just store it into X. Make sure your case sensitive is accurate. Because if you notice how I'll remove what else is in the brain, this is lowercase x. And we have something much easier to look at right now. We have 3 minus 4 plus log 10 of x. So let's go log 10 of x. Much easier to look at that. And now we have 4 plus that. 4 plus that is that. Now be careful. We want to square root this. So I should slow down. Oh. So I'm taking everything we have right here. Let me show you again. I don't want to go too quickly. Right now I've solved for all of this right here because I've just renamed the x as x and it looks virtually identical on the screen. There's a few ways to resolve this now as I move around my contact. There's a few ways to resolve this. I can do square root or I could raise to the 0.5 power, 1/2 power, 0.5 power. I usually put it in a parentheses just to make sure it's doing its own thing. That'll do the exact same thing as, don't do it 3 times. I just like showing that these things will solve the same results. So all of these codes right here are the same results because this is the 0.5 power, this is the 1/2, which is square root, this is square root, which is square root. So you have right here all of the same things, and all of this right here means we have just done the following. We just square rooted that. And from here, we're just one step away. I feel like I should stop here and be like, I feel like, who feels like they can solve it from here? Because it says the answer should be about, where's the answer for C? Yeah, it should be about that. Do you feel like you got it from here? I just want to stop it here, just in case anyone's watching the video, and then they send this. So please be watching all. Yeah. So I'm going to pause this one here, just in case anyone's watching and they're like, "Ooh, free answer," and then they go to this part of the video and they're like, "Wait, what do I have to do?" At this point, if you've been watching, following the steps, you got it from here. I mean, you should be good. Just be following along. So I'm trying to offer as much help as I can, but I think people, like, if you're following along right now, how's it feeling? Is it feeling a little bit easier? Like if I offer you no advice for this last one, oh man, is it an easy one? You just want to put that answer in the chat. I mean, for D, you're like, come on, you just climbed the mountain. Now you're just biking down like full speed. C was the mountain, and D is just we're just letting the pedals spin as the bike just flies down the hill. Because at this point, you should feel very comfortable with D. Just take a breath of fresh air and be like, oh. So if you want to put that answer in the chat, feel free to. We can give away that answer, and we can talk about more parts of this. We didn't get to sequences today, so we could talk about the next part with sequences. But this one right here, pretty I think at this point, and I'd hope it's pretty easy, especially if you just conquered the last few, because we are using similar techniques here, and nothing too crazy. It's just a exponent raised 2. I'll put the answer here on the screen. I don't mind giving this one away. What was the equation? It was 22 raised to that. So, I mean, I always put stuff into that. Was that the number? Yeah. It's about that. It's about that. Yeah, great job, Kirsten, right there. Excellent work. Yeah, so, and this is what I like. You know, we've just started off, our 20 minutes in. Great job, channel, right there. We're 20 minutes in, and people are like, hey, these first 4 questions right now, I got these. And that's what I want to see. This is the practice we need where, you know, come to class, come to office hours, practice it up. Great work. The parentheses. Yeah, I don't think you need them, actually. I use them all the time, so you don't actually need them. I mean, you could just go crazy right here. You could be like, I'm going to parentheses this, I'm going to parentheses this, and I'm going to parentheses this, and then I'm going to put some spaces here, put some spaces here, spaces, and then you get the same thing. I wouldn't write that, but I mean, it works. It shows the concepts that parentheses can be used all the time to have certain things evaluate, and it shows the concept that spaces are read through and are. So just a little bit of review right there, that spaces are just blank areas that are read through, and also parentheses can be used just at any time to connect multiple things, like to be like, evaluate this, then evaluate this, then evaluate, you know, like the way we do the parentheses. It's always going to do the inner part of the parentheses and then move to the outers. That's ridiculous, though. I wouldn't do that. This is how I would code it by default. Yeah, great questions right there and good practice. What should we do now? Let's hop to space. I'll put on my little classic music right here. With just my chill music while I drink some coffee. What do people want to do? I didn't even hit the Wacky Wednesdays button. I got to fix it on this screen. What do people want to do? What concepts do you want to talk about? You can just keep saying, go through that homework. And then we'll have a lot of the homework on here. I might not always do all the homework. I might not always do it. And I try to sometimes do tangential questions, like questions that are similar. And I should be uploading the rubric for this assignment pretty soon. The rubric's just going to be like, got the question right. Like, especially for these earlier ones where we're not doing much like interpretation, more learning how to code. It's like, got correct answer, attempted question, but did not get correct answer. So all that good stuff right there. And then you can clearly see that where you lost points, like you attempted it, but didn't get the right answer. So if it's like a 3-point question, you'll get 3 points for getting it right and 1 point for attempting. I mean, I guess someone could just do like 1. I don't know. What does an attempt count as? That's hard thing is like, you could just put like 1 and I'd be like, well, they attempted it. It's a lot better than not turning in anything, right? Showing up's half the battle. Down to continue through the homework. Let's make it happen. Let's go to the next question, which is, we almost got to this today. We almost got to it, but we didn't. Let's do it. Use the sequence command or function, sequence function, to help answer the questions below. Generate a sequence that starts at 5 and goes to 20. So let's talk about sequence right here. Talking about the sequence function. So when you have text right here, this is word text. This is what actually bold it. So by putting stars around it, it bolds it when you knits it. So you don't have to don't be adding in talking about this. Just seeing right here, you could do that in Microsoft Word afterwards. I'm knitting it to an HTML just for quicker knitting. But what I've done right here is not code really. It's more like style codes for R. Just don't worry about that. And there is a new thing. You can go right here and see what things look like. Yeah, so this is a new thing. Yeah, I should show this tomorrow. This recently came out. You know what? I'm going to show this tomorrow because I forgot about this. And you can actually just bold straight right here. What? Look at this. Go like, wow. So you can do all this stuff right here. And then if you go back, it'll show you what you've done right there. Like I couldn't have told you how to write that unless I'm doing the R Markdown editor right here, which looks more like a Word document. So please remind me tomorrow to talk about this. You could also edit your code right here. You know what? This looks, and you can run your code, and it shows you it's more of chunks. So you know what? We should definitely show this tomorrow. And yeah, it looks a lot better. So this is something new that they came out with, which I'm always trying to try the new things and see what works. But I mean, anything that looks more like a Word document, and it kind of makes it clear because look, your bolding options go away. Because what is this right here? What is this chunk right here? If you want to add a new chunk, there should be, yeah, there's still the options. Whoa, it's even doing that. That's nice. You can go here to add a chunk, and it'll add in a chunk. Good, it's got the play options. I was like, it better have those play options. These chunks are where we write our code, and it should be pretty clear right now where you're writing our code, and then you can run the R code right here. This is, of course, pretty clear right now why it's a Word document. That's interesting that it shows sequence right there. How did we write that? Oh, it's in quotes like that. Cool. That might be looking for the object sequence. Okay. Let's talk about the sequence function right here. What is the sequence function? So the sequence function, seq, is a function, and it takes a few arguments. So the arguments that it takes are going to be to, from, and then it's going to have by. And I'm pretty sure by is set to 1, and I think it also has a length argument. There's a length argument, which we'll see. But you can't use by and length at the same time. So let's just think about this. If I want to write a sequence that goes from 1 to 10, how could I write that? So in the chat right now, before we get to question A, this is like the basics of writing sequences. Before we do question A right here, how can I write a sequence that goes from 1 to 10? Just try to figure that out right now. Code it into R. Let's just do some basic questions right here. Basic question 1. Write a sequence that 1 to 10 by 1. This is a very, very basic question. We're not even to our real questions yet. But if we always want to do these basic things right here. So try writing a sequence that goes from 1 to 10 by 1. Great job right there, Kirsten. That is definitely yes. And I was going to point out with this especially, and you can see that the by is set to default. Chanel's also right. Kirsten's right. And watch this. So here's my answer. That gives us the sequence going from 1 to 10 by 1. Here's Kirsten's answer. That gives us the same sequence. Here we'll make it so everyone can see all of these, and we'll put them just on the screen by themselves. And there's Kirsten's, and here's Chanel's answer right here. And these are all the same answer. So this is just good practice to see that there's multiple ways to code, and that's what I wanted to point out right here, is that with the default, which Kirsten was using, you don't actually have to enter in the by equals 1, because if you do not enter in something right here, it'll do it for you. Now, here's something Dr. Petrie always suggests. He always suggests doing, actually, it's from. I was like, something looks wrong there. Petrie suggests doing from equals 1, 2 equals 10, and by equals 1. Just generally helps out, but you know what? You can mix these up. So we're just going extra complicated here to show you what can be done. All of the codes currently on the screen give you the same answer. Every single one of these codes, whether we use the names of the arguments, whether we just call them by their positions, because it will assume the first argument right here is the from 1 if you do not specify. It'll assume the second argument here is 2, what you're going to, if you do not specify. It'll assume the third argument, which it will put default as 1, will be 1. So I think at this point, with our understanding, we want to generate a sequence that goes from 5 to 20 by 3. Well, it says goes up in increments by 3. Go ahead, and I want to see the two ways in the chat right now. Just let's look at the format again. We've got from, which what it starts as. So try to solve this in the chat right now. And so we want to do an argument that starts at 5, goes up to 20, and goes by increments of 3. So, and see if you can solve the two ways. If you don't get both ways, I'll solve the second way. So there's just a bunch of ways, and you could reorder the arguments. You can call them by their default order. So we have the arguments right here, the way it goes. Boom, right there. Exactly, Kirsten. Great job. Yep. And so when we look at this, and you want to go down here, the chunks where you're running it. I've got that right there. So this right here is just starting at 5, going to 20 by 3. There's other ways to write this, though. The other ways to write this would be something like 2 equals 20. I would not suggest this. By equals 3. And from equals 5. That should give the same answer, and it does. I do not suggest changing default order. It's going to assume 5 is what you want to go from by default. It's going to assume 20 is what you want to go to by default, and it's going to assume the third argument is the by. Does it make more sense? And great job, Chanel. Also, does it make sense that arguments have a default order? So the first thing you put in, it's like, oh, this is what it wants me to go from 5. I want to start at 5. The second thing I put in right here is what it's telling me to go to. Now I can change this order by going here and calling things by the name of the argument, by saying, oh, I want you to go to 20 by 3 from 5. So then I'm kind of mixing it up, but I'm telling it the first argument is the to instruction. The second argument is the by instruction. The third argument is the from instruction. And yeah. Yeah, and this is like the basics. This is the scales of coding. This is the C scale where you're like do 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 do. Just practicing right there the scale, making sure you understand what the code is doing. Second one, I think you'll just get this right now. Ooh, we got 11th element right now. Let's just not even worry about that. Just go away. We want a sequence. We'll worry about that in a moment right here. Sequence that starts, because what do we code in? Little bits. Sequence that starts at 2.1 and goes up in increments of 0.5. Now it did say the 11th element. So let's make a sequence that is 50 elements long. So I think about that. I'm telling you length of a sequence, and I'm going to do something here to help you out with this. Can you make a sequence? Let's give it 50 elements. Let's just give it 50 elements right here, and I'll give you hints, and I want you to figure out how to make what I'm asking for. The question mark allows you to get the help package, and you should see it says length out, but yeah, so what do you think? Try to code a sequence that goes from 2.1, goes up in increments by 0.5, and has 50 elements in it. So try to code that right there. R sometimes does what's called a partial match, so you could use length out. The null means that object does not exist by default. So the null object just means there is nothing there, and by nothing it means, We'll talk about nothingness tomorrow, but it's the difference between having a box with nothing in it and not even having the box. Like if I say what's in the box and you say nothing, that's missingness. If I say what's in the box and you say there is no box, that's a null box because there just doesn't even exist the box. And we'll talk about positions and elements tomorrow. I think you got it. That looks great right there, Kirsten. Kirsten, great job. Let's take a look at this first bit of code. I'm going to reappear here. So you can see it tells you how this is used right here. It looks more complicated than it is. All we're going to do is make this sequence right now, and I'll show you how we get a partial match. So there's the sequence, pretty long sequence right there. I think you can just call this length. It produces the same thing, and that just shows it's doing a partial match. Can it even... Ooh, calm down there. Oh, you see, look at this. Oh, no way. Oh my gosh, you can just type L. You can just type L, and it will do that right there. So yeah. So, oh wait, is it taking the by argument? Oh, I lost your by argument from this. I think we need this right here. There we go. And let me make more sense of it. So I think there's one issue, Kirsten. Your original thing. So your original one says go from 2.1 to 0.5. Do you see how I changed this to the by right here? Since this is in the second argument position, let's take a look. What did I do? Oh my gosh. I literally clicked and don't even know what I did. I think I made a second copy of it. Since yours is in the second argument position, how is it treating this one right here? Since this was in the second argument position, what was it treating that 0.5 as, Kirsten? So since this is in the second argument position, it was treating that as the what argument? Yep, Kirsten, you see it now, yeah. Excellent work right there. It was saying go from 2.1 to 0.5 and then a sequence of length 50. And so we just want to make small changes to that. And that's why we always look at what our code is evaluating, because this right here is making a sequence of length 50. There's 50 elements. That's what the length means. There's 50 elements. And we don't want to go to 0.5. We want to go by 0.5. And if you notice now, the sequence goes up in increments of 0.5. If you can't see it behind me right there. Great stuff right there. And great job, Kirsten. This is just, it's just, you have to get things wrong to get them right. I wish people would have, I just saw it all the time. Like one of the students with the highest grade in Stats 201, he would get a bunch of questions wrong in class. And I think people didn't even realize it, that every question someone gets wrong is something they remember. And then they're like, oh yeah. And then it fixes something it like helps your thinking. So keep getting those questions wrong. We're throwing 20 points right there for the wrong answers, because you have to say a wrong answer to know you're wrong. You have to be like this, and they're like, oh, and then you create that memory like, oh, that's what I do. I got it now. I got it down. So wrong answers are actually more about, I truly mean this, wrong answers are more valuable than right answers. And right answers help confirm you know it, but wrong answers correct what's wrong in our brain when we have wrong knowledge, and we can get on right track. So get those wrong answers out. Get it wrong in class to get it right on the test or during office hours. So the last part of this is we just want the 11th element. Well, if you notice this right here, we can tell what the 11th element is. This is the 13th element. So the 13th element of this sequence is 8.1. Can you just tell me, looking at this, what is the 11th element? Like, let's just confirm our answer by looking at it. Like, what would be the 11th element? Like, just confirming the answer by looking at it. What would be the 11th element just by confirming it by looking at it? Remember, this 13th stands for positions right here, and the 8.1 is the element in the 13th position. So 7.1 is exactly correct. Great job there, Kirsten. We're just going to go here and put the brackets, and we do get the same answer of this being the 11th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You could even do things like this, where you could pull positions 1 through 11, just so you can see positions 1 through 11. You can also pull like certain positions you want, like positions 1 and position 11. So there's position 1 and position 11. Does it make sense that what you have right here are square brackets? I'll just put this code straight in the chat. This is not quite the code. Or you only want position 11. But does it make sense that the square brackets give you positions? Like if I go here and I make a sequence of numbers 1 through 20, and then I go here and I ask for, from this sequence, give me position 10. It's going to be the 10th number, which is 10. So that is the 10th element of a vector 1 through 20. If I go here and I make a names vector, and let's put in the names vector Brian and Darren. I didn't put that in quotes, so it was treating it as an object. And then I go here to names, and I put in names 1. What will this do? Like, explain to me without telling me code. Pretend to me I don't know how to code. Brian created a vector of names with 2 names in it, and he's saying what right here? What does this say? It says go to this object and do what? Return to me the thing blank. What is this code like if we try to talk to someone about it saying? I would say I have this object which is just 2 names that are like, just like, this is name 1, this is name 2. It's in a vector, which means I'm just putting them in an order. Like, just think about like a carton of eggs. This is the first egg. This is the second egg. You're just going through the carton. It's like a long carton. It's not a 2-dimensional carton, but it's a 6-pack of eggs, or a 2-pack of eggs on the screen right now. It would tell you the first name in the list. And not technically a list. Good stuff right there with list. There are lists inside of R. So in the vector, it's going to give you the first element of the vector. So very precise wording right here. Don't worry, like, you don't get tested on your wording, but gives first element in vector. So that gives the first element in the vector, because we do have things like list, where the list could take names, and what else do we have up here? So I have X also. And so let's call this list 1. So if you notice here, list 1 has 2 things inside of it. So list 1 actually, so this is now a list containing 2 things. Does that make sense right here? So that's why we wouldn't call this a list. We would call this a vector. And so this is a vector, a character vector with 2 elements. I'm throwing another 20 points. Good discussion right here. These are things we did not talk about during class. Yeah. Great stuff. And so that's just extra stuff. So this turns these 2 things into a list right here, and you can see it up here in the top where I have 2 things as a list, and then you can go through and look at your list and get your stuff out of your list. Really? Does it not have a name? Oh, I can go here to list 1, and that'll get me that. And I can go to, I'm not the best of working with lists. I just don't use lists nearly enough. That should really, oh, I have to do the following. Okay, that gives me that. There we go. I hate that. I'm so bad with lists. I just don't use lists nearly enough. This returns a certain position of lists, and then this returns the element in that list. So it says go to list 1 and return element 2. This should give an NA right now. Yep, it does give an NA, because there's only one thing in here. It's just the number 2, or whatever that is. So it says go to element list 2, go to position 1 in that. But just one last crazy thing right here. This list right now has, and it might be hard to see, I'll make it smaller. This list now, just talk about list for a half second here before we do the last sequence. There we go. The list now has 3 things inside of it. And this is where things get a little bit crazy, and we will be talking about this tomorrow. Right here. Ooh, incorrect dimensions. Oh, yeah, because I want to go to the first one. There we go. This is going to the first thing in the list, and then going to row 2, column 2 in empty cars. So if we go to empty cars, because it's the first thing in the list, what is it doing? What's going on? Oh, I'm trying to run code up top. And we see the 6 right there, and that's the 6 we're getting here. That one's super complicated. Let's hop back here to space and do the next one. I know I went super complicated there at the end. I was just trying to stretch your knowledge just a little bit. Don't worry, that was that last rep right there. As you're like, oh, just my brain's expanding too much. Don't worry. We're going to slow it down right here a little bit with that next one. Let me reorient the screen. We got this. Ready? Back to easy world. If you understood everything I just said, you are above and beyond. Let's go back to some easier stuff. Here we go. We got this. Consider a sequence that starts at 5 and ends at 8, which has 121 elements in it, how many elements are greater than this? Okay, don't worry about this. I would like you to just do this part right here. I would like you to just do that part right there. See if you can write this in the chat right now. A sequence that starts at 5, goes from 5, ends at 8, goes to 8, and has 121 elements in it. So consider this sequence right here. Just start with that sequence, code little bits. I just want to see the sequence to begin with. Don't do the whole thing. Don't worry about that last part. Don't do that yet. Let's just get a sequence that starts at 5, goes to 8, and has 121. Excellent job right there, Kirsten. And the last argument you put in there is not using the default. This is excellent work right here. Please realize, if you are working along, do not be putting in all this code because these are not answers. I'm probably going to send out an announcement to the class saying, like, when I do work, I do a lot of extra work. So you do not just want to straight copy what I write down. You want to look at the questions, look at what we're talking about, and then like be like, oh, okay, this is what I'm doing. It keeps people more active than me just writing the answers. But I mean, not that we just wrote an answer, you know. So let's take a look at the sequence. Excellent work. Now, the last part is something we'll be doing about 20, 25 minutes into class tomorrow. How many elements are greater than this? You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to call this sequence X. So this is much easier to write now. Now, how could you see if something is greater than 7.13? How could you see that? How could you take X and see if elements in it are greater than 7.13? And this is what we call a logical check. So don't overthink it. We've just got something called X, and you want to see if the things inside of X are greater than 7.13. So don't overthink it. Just give something a try right here and be like, does this work? Does this work? Just be like, I've got this thing called X. Here's X. And there's X, so we can see what X is. And I just want to see if these things are greater than 7.13, which it looks to be about right here. That's where it starts. I mean, I guess we could count them. That's got it right there. Calzone, what's up? Thank you so much liking the cut right here. If you saw, my hair was all over my shoulders. Calzone, Tyrone, up there on our Kahoots. I hope you're doing well. You might have graduated. You are a fan favorite classic. We need to reset your points. We need to get your points back up there. Evil Mewbot came in and took away your points, Calzone, Tyrone. So let's go in here. I'll have to do it because I've got all the peoples up there. But I think you have a bunch of hours too. We're always happy to see you swing by. Thank you so much. We're working away on some coding right here. And with this Saturday all done now. Oh my God, congratulations. Kirsten and Chanel, if you didn't know it, Calzone came to one of our first Kahoots. He was playing along, doing statistics up there where I'm from, with Dwada and Wada and calzones and bagels, all that good stuff up there in New York. So going to school, doing some statistics, just swung by, took part in our Kahoot, and now we have so many more fun things since you first came by, Calzone. Today's Wacky Wednesdays. We'll get serious here in a second as I drink some coffee. Oh, man. No, awesome. Thank you so much. And congratulations. Best of luck to you. I don't know if you're doing grad school or whatever. You don't have to give out personal information and everything, but we wish you the best of luck and we're proud of you. So, I mean, that's what we're here to do. You've been around for a long time. You've seen many live streams that we've been on. We're just here to promote positivity, and we want students interacting with other students, even if it's not at UT, to be like, hey, help each other out, give each other some positivity and cheer each other on. And that's so awesome. You know what? Some big points right here cheering on. Congratulations to Calzone. 50 points out there, Mewbot points. Look at this. This is how many hours I've been streaming Calzone. It's a little bit crazy. Mewbot's giving out all the points right there. That's good Mewbot, not evil Mewbot.
I am Mewbot.
That's Mewbot. So let's see right here. Okay, so now what we have, Mewbot, get out of the way. What you doing, man? Okay, so what we have right here is we have a vector of trues and falses. This is a logical evaluation of the vector. And we could just count the trues. I don't know. Just go here and count all these trues up. But there's got to be a better way. what do you think R sees trues and falses as? Like if I write true right here, it sees it as true. And it's also the same thing as T. That's true. But what if I were to do this? True plus true. What do you think true plus true is? I mean, we could evaluate it. And T is the same thing as true. You can see it's blue, which means it's a special character. It's reserved for something other. We can't overassign T. So what do you think? What do you think true plus true is? Any ideas what true plus true would be? And this is important to know how R sees these. So what would true plus true be? And try it out if you're wondering. Like if you don't know, if you have no idea, just go to R right now and type true plus true. And then be like, oh, it sees true as this. What does it see true as? Ah, that's a good guess right there, Kirsten. It doesn't see them as NAs, which NA stands for missingness. That's like nothing exists. Just real briefly on NA, that means it doesn't exist. So in position 3 right now, there does not exist an element. So this is not the word NA. That means nothing exists right there. Trues are seen as what's right now? If true plus true is 2, and true plus true plus true is 3, trues are seen as what's? You got it. And then false is seen as what? What do you think false is seen by? Because I keep adding false and the number's not changing. Yeah, there we go. That's once you're like, oh, it sees it as a 1, and false is seen as a what? What is false going to be seen as it's going to be seen as a 0. So it's just like Boolean operators, 1s and 0s. Boolean is just like on-off switch. So it's seen as binary Boolean, 1s and 0s. And so how about this? Let's go to this vector right here. And let's just go to sum of it. So I'm just going to go before it and type sum. Or don't copy everything I copy down. Well, sum of it vectors 2. I mean, you got any ideas on this code right here? Remember, I'll show you what this code evaluates to again. It evaluates to this. I mean, I could just go right here and do this. This is just another example because trues and falses are 0s and 1s in the brain of R, and that's 2, and that's all it's doing. So, I mean, what could I do to that right there? Any ideas what I could do to that vector? Because what you're seeing on the screen, I'll show you only this. What you are seeing on the screen right now is what this evaluates to. That's what this is. This thing right here is this. That's what R sees it as. So what could I do to that to find out how many? Yes, Summit, you are right. I'll do it. I think you got it. Once again, you can highlight through code, throw a parentheses around it, and you can go here to sum, and boom. That's the answer. That's it. Great job. Is it making more sense? Once again, we code in those little bits right there just to make sure we get it down. We figured out the sequence. We wrote our sequence. We looked at the sequence. We said, yep, that's the sequence I want. We stored the sequence as X. We did a logical check on the sequence to see if it's greater than the values. And then we summed up how many values are greater than that. So, excellent work so far today. Maybe we got time for a little bit more. I might go an hour, hour and a half. You never know. Especially if people come in, they're like, hey, I got this big question. I'll be like, oh, let's stay around. But hopefully I hope it's giving you more confidence in doing the work and being like, I got this, because you're seeing it right there by knowing like, okay, I see what we're doing. I can see we sum it. And these small little concepts right here about, Brian created a vector of trues and falses, and then he summed it together. R sees trues and falses as 1s and 0s. So this is seen as 1 plus 1 plus 0 because he's doing the sum of a vector of trues and falses. And the vector just joins together things. So it's just saying, here's a bunch of trues and falses. Yes, exactly like to see. And this is it. Every assignment, just swing by office hours first thing and just be like, hey, explain this, go over this concept. And I'll always do like the tangential things to it too. I might go a little above and beyond. Like we're not doing lists right now. I just really don't use lists that much. Some people are big fans of them. Yeah, let's do one more right here. Let's do one more. Let's do the Celeste music. We never played Celeste. Let's do one more. Ooh, we're loading up some data right here. Okay. That was question 3, right? Wait, question number 3. Here we go. Oh, yeah, we got this. Shh, you ready? Let's do some question number 3. Here we go. Let's hop to the main screen. Here we are with question number 3. After loading in the R data file, now make sure under your files you have it in your working directory. So you always want to put all your files in your working directory. A very common mistake I see is people, and I understand why people might do this, is they try to create like directories for each assignment. You can do that, but then you have to switch your working directories. So you can do something like that. It's fine, but you're going to be switching directories. I use my downloads, which is not the best for organization, but I have a bunch of different classes, a bunch of different things. I should probably be changing my working directory every time to be more organized, but I am less than perfect. I hate to admit. So make sure you have data assign 1. If for some reason it does have like some -1 or parentheses 1 or something, make sure it has that. It shouldn't. I think I corrected that this morning. Someone noticed that. So you should have this. And what is an R data file? An R data file, Mubot's just talking to everybody in the chat right there. An R data file is like a brain. So that's an R environment. That's what R data stands for. Different file extensions mean different file types. This file type is a brain I'm sending you. So let's go ahead and load in this brain right here, and the brain is loaded up. So I just sent you a brain. So an R data file is an R environment. We're loading the environment. The environment's been loaded. You can do things like that up here with your save your environment. Show us. You can tell us? Save workspace. It calls it a workspace. It's the environment. You can also load a workspace. So you could go right here to load it. This button right here is going to do the same thing as the load function. Tons of ways to get things done. So now that we have this loaded up, and if it doesn't load up, if you're trying to get it loaded up, you've been working on this for 5 or 10 minutes, please contact me. We'll probably hop on Discord. I see you got some Discord messages to look at after office hours. But please tell me like, hey, Brian, well, this is not loading up, and we'll get it figured out. Because it could be 11 o'clock at night. You're like, it's just not loading. I've been trying all day to get it to load. Just tell me immediately, like, this is not loading. We'll look into it. So now we got the question, what does R think of the following things? So here's 3 or 4 things, not 3. I'll learn how to count. We're going to bring these down here to help ourselves out. I mean, I guess. You know what? You could do that. Or you could do it the more difficult way. Now, when R looks at objects, what function can we call to see how R sees an object? Because R is going to manipulate an object depending on how it sees it. And how it sees the object is based on the what of an object. So I just need a 5-letter word that you might think of like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, which has nothing to do with that. That's not what we're talking about here, but it's synonymous with that. But what's a function that lets us see what way is R going to manipulate this object? Like, imagine you're setting up a dinner and you're going to have people bring desserts, or Kirsten's got it right there. You're going to have people bring desserts or main dishes or entree or side dishes. And you could then, like if someone hands you a pumpkin pie, you'd check the class of it and be like, okay, that's a dessert. If someone brings a turkey, you'd be like, okay, that's a main dish. And you're going to put that in the main dish area. So the same thing works here with class. That's just saying, well, how do you view this R? How do you view this object? So if we go here to class of alumni, this is a data frame up here. You can see it, which looks like an Excel data sheet. And so R is going to tell us that is a data frame. So a data frame is basically an Excel data sheet. That's how it is viewing this object right here. So R is like, well, I see that as a data frame. If we go here to class of alumni and let it autocomplete, it needs to be capitalized. R will spell check it or capitalization check for you. It'll case sensitive it and do a $sign. And now we can go here to zip code. Now you can double check you're getting the right answer because zip code is seen as a factor, which I don't know if it should be seeing it like that. So let's look at the zip code vector real quick. This one might be incorrectly coded. I mean, yeah, no, it is a factor. What am I saying? My brain broke. Zip code is definitely a factor because it doesn't stand for a quantitative amount. I think coffee's wearing off. Zip code is a factor. It's a group of individuals who belong to a certain set of zip code. It is not numeric because it's not how much zip code do you have. It's what zip code are you in. So that is properly coded right there. Next, we've got we can copy this. Why not? If you're wondering about this $sign, let's review what the $sign does again. The $sign allows you to reach inside of a data frame. So since this is a data frame, when you do a $sign, it's going to join the data frame to the vector inside the data frame. So here's the data frame, here's the vector inside of it, and the $sign joins the data frame to the vector inside of it. So literally all you're doing is when you call data frame $sign, you're then calling a variable inside of there. So good stuff right here. And this one looks to be numeric as far as I can tell. It's integer, which means it's just not going to have decimals. And you can view this the following way. Just highlight here and run it. And it does have some NAs, which stands for missingness. The NAs right here means there was no value reported. To make sense of this, let's go right here. We have missingness for, let's go here, and here we go. The second person in the data frame, this person right here, did not tell us how many animals they own, but they did tell us that they own a cat. The third person right here told us that they own 2 animals, but they didn't tell us what type. So the missingness is where you don't have a response. That's what missingness is. So where you see these blanks, like this is all missingness in this data right here, that's the same thing right here where it reports NA. It's very important to note that these NAs right here are not the same as this. That is the character string NA. That's not the same. Oh no, it is that. That is missingness NA, but it is not this. That is the object NA. So very, very small, subtle differences between the character string NA, which is in quotes, the capitalized NA, which is the special character for missingness, and the NA, just lowercase, which is just the object NA. It's very easy to tell the difference right here if you just write them out the following way. You can see the differences in between the colors, where a character string is in green, a special character is in darker blue, and I'll point out the difference. Is that the same color? I guess it is the same color. Well, darn. I thought it was slightly different, darker blue. But that's a special character, and then this is an object. So the color coding helps there a little bit to see one's a character string, one is a special character, and the other one right here is an object. There are other special characters inside of R, and you can tell you have a special character when it changes. Does anyone know any other special characters? I should know more than that. I guess like true, false, T, F. These are all special characters right here. And you can tell you've hit upon one because like if you have a function, it doesn't change the color like that. I'm trying to think what else is a special character. But those are all, that's not a number, that is missingness, that is non-existence, true, false right there. So if you're wondering what those are, we've went over a little bit of them today. The null object is probably the most confusing. It just means there is nothing there. If something is null, it does not exist. If NA is there, there exists a position and it does not exist. And not a number, I think we can easily obtain not a number by this. Not a number. That's just not a number. That's what not a number stands for. Not super important you know what not a number is, but yeah, that's what those are. What is the class of not a number? Oh, it probably has the null class. I bet it has null class. Oh, it's numeric. Well, that's weird. I didn't expect that. What is the class of NA? It's a logical. Yeah, that makes sense. What is the class of null? The class of null is null. It does not have a class. The object that does not exist does not have a class that exists. It does not exist and it does not have a class. It is non-existence and it has a non-existent class. So yeah, don't worry. No, the null is one of the weirdest things. It's like this just does not exist. Let's grab that last vector right here and check the class of it. Lifetime gift, and that is numeric. So the small difference right here between the lifetime gift to UT, if you notice right here, this doesn't have decimals, so this is integer. And this one right here has a little more storage format of it, and you can see the decimals on it, and this is going to be numeric. Numeric and integer are treated virtually identical. It's just that numeric takes up a little more space. And that's question 3 on the assignment. If you look how far down we've gone on this, we've done pretty well. Done pretty well on this assignment. Working through here, getting a lot done. And yeah, just going through doing some logical stuff right here. I think we then get into some subsetting, checking of levels. Not that much more left. Subsetting is going to be more difficult part. Andres, good to see you. I reset the, well, no, you shouldn't. Yep. And then in class, make sure I'll mod you in class. Just say hey during class. Or Andres, are you in 201, Andres? Or do you have any questions right now, especially? If you're in 201, let me mod you right now. I'm going to mod you right now. I'm going to go on a limb here. So let me say. Okay, good. Called 2 hours ago. Oh my God. Oh, that's what that call was during class. Awesome, Andres. Yeah, this is R in our studio, and I just modded you there in the chat. If you ever have any questions, just let me know. You've got the 100 points from watching the first Ask Me Anything. But yeah, let's throw an extra 20 points out. Does anyone have any last questions? I plan to usually go about an hour in the afternoon, but if there's busier stuff, more questions, just let me know, especially around project time. I might go an hour and a half or sometimes 2 hours. Just depends. Hop on here, ask questions. We've got the first 3 questions completed. So hopefully BAS 320 is feeling a little more confident about this. 201, you've got some assignments coming up. 201, we'll do a review on Monday of everything to see how everyone's doing. But we should have, let's go look at that 201 real quick. Let's talk, here, let me go to the main screen. Let's go look at 201 to see what 201 has. Always good to see what 201's up to. Thank you so much for swinging by. I'm hoping we see a bunch of 201 students swinging by to just ask questions. And let's see. We've got here Thursday. The lecture is due tomorrow, and we've got some assignments coming up. Let's hop to the main screen. So what do we have coming up for 201? It's at the end of this week. I'll probably be sending out some email reminders for those who haven't done it. But you've got here the homework and the quiz. And then jumping right in, you've got Canvas content, homework, and quiz. So you've got stuff due on Friday and Monday. We're just kind of in that getting the ball rolling phase right now. We've got the first lecture, Stats Start Here. So you definitely want to be working on Stats Start Here right now. So if you're watching this right now, load up the lecture, start watching it. It should load in a new window. If you see any errors, please contact me immediately. I'm the one who created all of these. You've got stuff on installing Jump, taking a random sample, taking screenshots, all of this great stuff right here. Just walking through. Statistics gets a bad rap, and you can click on the stuff right here. So I went through and created all this, and you should probably read it. But you go through and you walk through. Oh man, look at those Funyuns right there. Just every time I see those Funyuns, I'm just like, it looks so good. You got some Disney. Talking about the Disney armbands, going through, check it out. Just kind of, talking about what statistics are about, measuring variation, understanding variation, reducing and adapting to variation. And you just kind of want to go through here and do the knowledge checks and see if you understand. All data needs context. We actually started off 320 with that today. I'll probably do more quizzes. I need to add more stuff. Measuring, understanding, reducing. We do not increase variation. We do not want to make variation more. We want to reduce, adapt to variation, control for variation. Flaming hot onions are more superior. Ooh, that sounds good, Riley, right there. I will take some. Is it flaming hot onions or Funyuns? Flaming hot Funyuns sounds awesome. Get me some flaming hot Funyuns now. Yeah, flaming hot Funyuns sounds like flaming hot Cheetos. Are Cheetos and Funyuns made the same way? This guy, I need to add more things in. I like hot Cheeto fries. Oh, those are so good, man. I've been on a health food kick lately, Andres and Riley. You guys or gals or everyone is tempting me right here. I want to make. What would you think of this? I need some opinions from 201 right here. This guy right here is like my dude who appears in a lot of the lectures, and I want to make some updates to this. I don't know if I can integrate it now, but I want him to get a little more wacky and a little more crazy throughout the semester. And I almost did it, but I wanted him to be like, there's an alien invasion and our company has been tasked with saving humanity. Like, it starts off pretty normal and it just gets crazier as the semester goes on, where he's like, like, what do you think about this? Or should we test this? Or what do we do? And, but I really like this thing right here. Let people, no, heck no, don't let people choose which measurement you want to do. Let people choose either inches or meters when taking the survey. The survey will be flexible depending on how the user wants to answer. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but you need a consistent measurement right here. That's what you need. And then he's like, great, this will keep our units measurement the same. Our population is this. These are the people we currently have a contract with. We will take a random sample of 500 clients. These are the individuals we will collect data on. Let's use the sample to understand the population. Let's use the population to understand the sample. Statistics is about inference, so we're going to use the sample to understand the population. Great. Understanding the sample of 200 clients will give us insight into our larger population. And so I wanted him to get wackier and wackier as the semester goes on. I don't know. And then I kind of was like, I don't know if people will get that. If people will get my humor. If people will be like, Brian, this is too crazy. This is too much. Man, look at those coffees right there. Is this like all cream? I don't know. It looks very similar from here over. Like at this point. Yeah, from here over. Those two are the hardest to tell the difference between. There's good differentiation between those. I'm just looking at coffee right here. I'm easily distracted by coffee. Nice glass of milk. Yeah, that's all it is, right? I think it is like what is being measured exactly. The parameter of interest, like maybe we want to know your favorite coffee or something. Alternative milk. Alternative milk greater than regular milk? Like almond milk or like what do we got? Almond milk or oat milk. I think almond milk is all right. It tastes a little grassy to me. I saw a really good thing with binging with Babish. He what did he make? He made some cashew cream or something. I really think I could. I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll go vegan. I don't know. Tacos. I need someone to make for me the best vegan tacos ever. If you make for me the best vegan, the oat and cashew the most. Is there cashew milk? There's cashew cream. But is there cashew milk? Maybe I should try some cashew milk. I wonder how high in fat it is, though. Like it would seem like it's higher than regular. I'm not a big milk drinker, though. I'm a big cream drinker, I guess. So maybe I am drinking milk. I don't know what's in cream. Is it milk? As I drink my coffee with cream. It's like my energy. But yeah. That's variation right there. Good stuff. 201, you're working on all your work. Let's hop back out of space. Well, great office hours. Swing by anytime. Just so if you're stuck on anything or you want me to re-explain concepts, just kind of some basics about what you're doing in 201 right now was the explanations. But if you're wondering like, hey, what's going with this? Can you re-explain this topic? Can you go over the normal model? Normal model is going to be big. Regression is going to be big. So I'm more than happy to stay here quite some time. Like, I'm sure I'll be doing some maybe 2-hour office hours. But I think that's got it. And good stuff right there. Let's throw out some 20 more points. Always good time in office hours. Swing by. Talking about some alternative milks. Check out some almond milk. I lost where the no carb bonus term were. Could you? Yeah. So it should be. Let's go back to that. Great question right there. It should be under. It exists, right? Assignments. If you go to assignments, you're welcome, Janelle. Great work. You should see the bonus. There's so many things. But the bonus note cards, you just upload your note cards for the bonus for the chapter. And yeah, you can do it on Quizlet. You can do it on physical note cards. And then just try to keep track of them and review them. The more you understand the terms, the more it can help. If you just scribble them down one time, you can get the bonus for that. But my goal is to point you in the right direction. And then you walk down the path. It's like, I'm like, go this way. And then you follow that path to success. So do the work, ask questions, and a lot of great success is usually found by that. And yeah, I think it's got it. You can also see the assignments here under syllabus. I think you see the same thing I see. Where's my student view? Let's go student view. So if you go to syllabus, yep, you see it right here. So you can click on bonus email. That's due by Sunday, so check that out. Just emailing me. So email me within the first week. And thanks so much, Chanel, so much. Excellent work today. And then you can go right here. Oh, the bonuses. I think they're all due. You know what? Maybe I'll reassign those due dates. They're all down here at the bottom. I might go through later tonight and remove around the due dates. So I wish I could just drag and drop them. Wish I could just be like, you go here. You go here. So I think that might help out. I'll probably send an announcement to say like, hey, I put the due dates with the lectures, just to make sure if you want to do the bonuses, because you don't have to attend live, but you always can swing by and ask, oh, let's leave the student view. Well, I think that's got it. Let's back here to the main screen. Head back. With that, any other last questions? Let me know if you have them. Just chilling out right here on Stat 201. I think that's got it. If you have any questions, email me, let me know. We'll just be working away. I'll be responding to emails today and just relaxing. It's middle of the week. It's only like, gosh, for 320, we're 2 classes in. We're like 10% done with the semester. You're welcome, Kirsten. Excellent work. Put on our ending music right here. Kirsten, we are like 10% done or like 9% done with the semester. Craziness. I can't believe it. With that, we will be back tomorrow. Swing by, ask for help if you're stuck. Email me, Discord. I'm going to go answer those Discord questions. So I'll see everyone. Bye for now. Bye for now, everyone. Woo! What's good, Josh? Good to see you. We're just heading off. If you have any questions, let me know. I think Josh, former student, right? But I will see you later. Josh, swing by anytime. This is when we're live right now. You're welcome, Andres. You're welcome, Kirsten. You're welcome, Chanel. Josh, good seeing you. They got the haircut. I'm short hair Brian now. Riley, good seeing you. You're welcome. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye, tiny puppet shark. Bye, little guy.